I'd like to do another reading from my book, Dancing with the Beloved, Resurrecting Divine Sexuality Through Profound Relatedness. The section that I'm going to be reading from is the sixth chapter in the book. The title of this chapter is Sex and the Single God, the Seed of Imagination. God created the universe through a sexual act, an act of profound relatedness with itself. And by that act, set the stage for the dance of life to emerge. All creative acts, since that initial act of creation, are simply reiterations of that initial creative act. Fractals of that profound equation projected into all aspects of space and time. The mind of God impregnated itself with the germ seed of imagination, the idea potential of all the one could become in the fullness of its creation. The impregnation was generated by the desire of the one to see itself in the mirror of existence and to experience itself in all of the infinite possibilities and divine permutations its nature and essence could possibly manifest. Fertilized by the will of the Divine One to see itself, the seed of imagination germinated in the virgin womb of the eternal now and gave birth to the universe. According to the Webster's Encyclopedia Dictionary, to create is to, in quotes, bring into being, make by applying the imagination in some artistic way, end of quotes. So therefore, creating anything requires imagination. Imagination is the substance potential or manifestation potential of consciousness. It is the paint the mind uses to color the canvas of consciousness, the chisel that carves the forms of consciousness's possibilities into manifest existence. Yet it is not separate from consciousness, but is a function of consciousness itself. It is the mind of the supreme artist in the act of creating. According to the teachings of Hinduism, Buddhism, Western mysticism, and the emerging theories of some schools of contemporary physics, all that is consciousness. In other words, all that is the mind of God. Consciousness is the fertile, virgin womb, the quantum field of existence into which the seeds of imagination are planted and from which they sprout. Like all fecund, fertile fields and ripened, ready wombs, consciousness must be impregnated with the word seed or the seed word of imagination's design concepts and nurtured with imagination's possibilities before it can bring them into realization and maturity. When the seeds of imagination are ripened and swollen with possibilities, they, like all seeds, spring up from the field matrix of consciousness as the fundamental particles of matter and the forces that govern those dynamic particles. The germ seeds of imagination are the ideas or design concepts, the fundamental mathematical principles or laws of creation that bring forth the universe into physical manifestation. Once they are planted, they must be fertilized and germinated into existence. The catalyzing forces that make that germination happen are generated by the burning desire of divine will. As the hymn from the Hindu Rig Veda states, from the will, the burning absolute love, truth arose, and with it, the ocean of possibilities. In the beginning, if there truly was a beginning at all, the catalyzing force of the burning absolute love of the one for the many that spawned the universe was generated, according to Western mystical traditions, by the will of God to see God, or the desire of the one to see itself, or the desire of the lover to see the face of his or her beloved. As described by myself and Dr. Joyner Bay in The Face of Consciousness, A Guide to Self-Identity and Healing, it is taught in Kabbalistic tradition that the will of God penetrated the void of the cosmic egg and moved upon the face of the waters as the single sperm penetrates the ovum or fertilizes the egg in its conception. In this context, we suggest deific will expressed itself in energy fluctuation in the field potential of the primal womb of chaos, the virgin field of consciousness, to ignite the first contraction and impregnate the seed nucleus of imagination with the identity pattern of all that was to come. It did this by imprinting the face of the waters, or its field potential matrix, with the organizational pattern or spatial field pattern of the self-aware consciousness of manifest existence. We believe this action concurrently initiated the most essential dynamic process of self-reflection and circular recursion known to science, defining the primary distinctions between inside and outside, self and non-self, defining the primary distinctions of the space between everything, the womb within which the divine source created all that was to become.